art for bringing together people of different ages and communities. And we knew that we wanted to do something as an independent school in Washington that would include young people from public, private, and charter schools. It's my pleasure to introduce Kim Schraff, who is coordinating her 18th Parkmont Poetry Festival. Yes. Doesn't look a day over 15th. Kim has been teaching at Parkmont for the past 35 years alongside her career in theater. We're delighted to have her leadership of the festival.
Thank you, Neoli, for the warm welcome. I'm just gonna adjust my height here. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jared. Beautiful, beautiful. We have Jared, our wonderful tech, who will help you with microphone logistics, so don't worry about that. Thank you for the warm welcome. You know, it could be cloudy, it could be raining, it could even be snowing outside, but that wouldn't matter because in here, I know you are going to feel the sun shining when you hear the winning poems for the 2025 festival being read. In 1982, when Ron McLean and Judy Lentz started this festival, let me say that Judy is just the vision for the festival. She was a long-time Parkmont board member and parent and teacher and my predecessor in this role. She taught me everything I know, not least how to fold one of those t-shirts into one of those winner's packets, make it fit and make it look nice. That and many other things. But they had a vision that has sustained for 43 years. At one point, we found this home right down the street from Parkmont School. And Zion Baptist has been a collaborator and a friend and a partner in this event. They also have a wonderful AV team, so we are live streaming this at their website, ziondc.org, and we are also recording it. So we're grateful for that. I know why you're here. You're here for the poetry, and we are going to start that very soon, but I have a couple of thank yous that I want to share. In the back of your booklet, you will see our extraordinary Parkmont board, the amazing teachers who sponsored winners in this festival, scores more of teachers who just got students to enter. Please read through their names. Please know how wonderful they are. Parkmont students, staff, parents, they all pitch in to make this event happen, and we could not do it without them. In addition, we have two particularly devoted, sustaining supporters and lovers of this festival, and I want to thank Jackie Michael and David Weissman for all that they do for the Parkmont Poetry Festival. Finally, we've forged relationships with a really vibrant community of professional published poets in the DMV who occasionally serve as our judges. We think it's a testament to how highly we regard our student poets that we have professional adjudicators. And I want to call out the people who selected the poems for today's event. Originally, our preliminary judges read 382 total poems to get semifinalists. They are Tu An Nguyen. Tu is not able to be here today, but oh my, was she a delightful presence in this process. You were lucky to have her care and her eyes on your poems. And our other preliminary judge is with us today, and I want to recognize Sean Felix. who was also a dream to work with. Sean, would you stand and let us acknowledge you and to bravo. And finally, our finalist judge had the extremely difficult job of choosing only 40 poems, 20 middle school and 20 upper school. Michael Gushu is a friend since my college years. He's a neighbor, and he's just one of the finest poets I know. He has some words for the winning poets, and I'd like to bring him up to the podium now. Michael.
Good, thank you. Good afternoon. Dear Parkmont poetry winners, dear fellow poets. Well, last week, I'm going to start off. Last week I had to go to a book festival to read, which I was not in the mood to do. I was in a foul mood. And I went to it and I sat there and my thoughts were, God, I hate poetry. So boring and anyway. Happy ending. I went, I listened, I read with another poet I was reading with, talked to people, they had a bunch of books, I'm looking at the books, and felt better, went home. My wife was like, so you went? Yeah, people said they liked your poetry. I said, yeah, they did. And you felt better? I said, yeah, I did. She said, uh-huh. Well, so what? So I'm gonna talk like for just very briefly about two faces of poetry to my fellow poets. The first face everyone talks about, and it's how to write poems, how to get good at writing poems. It's what your teachers talk to you about. It's how you got good at putting words together. It's about being a good craftsman, a good woodworker, a good welder, someone who knows how to put lines together, make words in the best words in the best order. It's hard work. You have to write a lot. You have to rewrite a lot and revise a lot if you want to get good at it. And it's important. You learn by doing. There's another secret face to poetry, one that people may talk about it, but there's not much you can say about it. And you can only really think about it in yourself. And no one can tell you whether you have it or not. It's whether you have a crush on poetry and whether poetry has a crush on you. Only you know whether you have it or not. I'm going to assume that you all do because you're here and you've written. I'm going to assume that you're all having maybe your first fling with poetry. There's heartache involved, but also you're just greedy for poetry. You want to be with poetry all the time. Some of you may end up in a long-term relationship with poetry. Some of you may not. Some of you may decide to break up with poetry. You may break up. Years later, you may get back together with poetry. Poetry will show up at a reunion and decide to get back together with you. You may decide to get back together with it. Regardless, as with any relationship, you've already gained something about this first love affair with poetry that you're having right now. You've, like any relationship, you've gained something from it. And having a love affair with poetry, you've already gained a small jewel that will not go away. You may find yourself reading poetry years from now after not having read it for a while, and that'll be something. So good or bad. And my point of bringing up the thing before is that if you are having a serious relationship with poetry, it's going to drive you crazy sometimes. You will hate it, you'll love it. Other people who you have relationships will have to share you with your relationship with the poetry. And they're going to have to understand that. That'll be tough. But that's okay. I just want you to know that you've already got something good out of it, whether you continue or not. I'm going to assume that most of you will continue with poetry, because that's my best hope for you and for poetry. Because there are two things. I hope that you continue to write poetry because we need you. We need your voice. We're entering dark times, as we all know. And poetry is light. It's as powerful a force as gravity. Gravity is invisible, and the force of poetry also is invisible. We don't see how it acts. It acts at a distance, but it acts on, like gravity, it acts on every single thing on Earth. And it tells the planets and the stars how and where to move. So it seems like a small, inconsequential, weak thing, and yet it has the ability to do and control and shape everything without us even realizing it. So it comes like a grace when we most need it. Finally, if you do stick with poetry, and even if you don't write it or not, if you still find that you love poetry, please read it, and read it voraciously, as much as you can. Be greedy and hungry for it like you're starving. And read whatever poetry you want. I don't care what kind it is. But I would encourage you to read whatever comes your way. Read poetry of today. Read poetry that's written here. Read poetry that's written elsewhere. Read poetry in translation. Read poetry from across the world. Read poetry from 50, 100, 500, 1,000, 5,000 years ago. It's all exactly wanting to speak to you. And I know this, I really, really know this, just like I know how to tie my shoes. There are poets like Sappho and Dante and Shakespeare and John Keats and John Clare and Lucille Clifton and Essex Hemphill, who are dying to speak to you, who have they've already looked into your heart. They've actually looked at you and what you're thinking and what you're feeling, and they would really, really like to have a word with you when you have the time for them. So I encourage you to do that. And that's anyway what I had to say. So I want to say thank you so much. Thank you once again for your poems. And congratulations, my comrades, my friends, and my fellow poets.
Thank you, Michael. Good. I realized as you were speaking, I guess I'm in a pretty long-term relationship with the Parkmont Poetry Festival. It's been very committed, very gratifying. I think it's mutual, and it's been exclusive. So it's nice to think of it as a relationship. It's time to read the poems. And this is how this will work. I will introduce your poem in the order that it appears in the booklet, with a couple of exceptions that we're going to finesse. You will come up to this podium, read your poem, and go back down. If you're a winning poet and you haven't come down front yet, please come down to these seats. It's going to shave minutes off the festival to not have the long walk down the aisle. And when you're done, please join your family or your friends or stay down front in the good seats. Anywhere, yeah, it's good. It's not a poetry festival if somebody doesn't invoke Lucille Clifton. And thank you, Michael, for saying that. She was our very first judge in 1982. If you don't know who Lucille Clifton is, look her up, a poet laureate of Maryland, just a force of nature. So thank you for remembering her. And I'll say one last thing. At this point in the festival, I normally hand the reins to my friend and colleague and one of my favorite poets, Sharon Strange. She has been with us as an MC of the festival for 25 years, and Sharon fully intended to come this year and just got waylaid in Georgia, in Atlanta, where she is. I know she's watching the stream. We miss you, Sharon. Happy birthday. But I will do my best to channel her and MC for you today as well. So, it is my pleasure to kick this off. We have a poet who needs to read early. Connor Hobbs, a poet from the Field School, is going to lift off for us today, and then we'll resume the rotation in the booklet. So, Connor, come on down.
Thank you. I tragedy. My legs a shaky, marred desert, far from dry, but the sand of my legs, solid as it seems, falls, and I crumple. Dunes on dunes, long and ugly, run through me. Red forms rivers, splitting the far from dry dunes, drawing a tree in my sand. Tragedy mimics beauty. I gape. How beautiful it is. I, tragedy, attempt to mimic beauty. But the dunes are long and ugly, and so I fail, and so I fall. Thank you.
A big voice. Oh, there I am. There I am. Thank you so much, Connor. What an auspicious beginning. What a mesmerizing and captivating poem. If you didn't have to go away so soon, I'd want to get you in a corner and talk about this poem. It is beautifully intricate and complex and masterfully done. So now you can go. Bye-bye. Our next poet, Anouk Fortuné, is an 11th grade student at the Duke Ellington School for the Arts. Anouk?
Hi, this is my poem, A Letter from Yesterday. I found your letter yesterday from when we were kids, and when my fingernails scratched through the tightly sealed envelope, I hope gold would pour out perfectly. Perfectly the way you'd say words like parsimonious and permissible, and gold the way your window curtain patterns let radiant rays ricochet off your glistening skin. But the letter ends up being ordinary. Corners ripped, no lipstick print, no dried flowers. Your cursive letters swim unevenly across the page. To future us. As kids, we both agreed that one day in our future we'd live next door in a 6-story household, and that every morning we drink tea on our conjoined front porch and talk about politics and society. As we grew older, our families would have barbecue Thursdays, water balloon fight Mondays, and of course, Taco Tuesdays. I wonder where we went wrong. Your letter reads like a diary describing your day, your new crush, and who you'd want to marry, how his hair smelled, how his eyes changed color in the sun. I remember your hair smelled like lavender and that you had playful green eyes, and I swore you held the sun in your pocket. But now, as I read your letter, I can't decipher if your pocket held a sun or a serpent. Every line casts old thoughts away. I skim the page, fishing for something new, and hidden underneath your I love you, I find an I left something for you. It seems in the box that I hadn't dared to open was not only your letter, but a satin glove. You left it as a sort of peace offering, a white dove, a dressing for your iron fist to hide the bruises where you pushed me away. Did you know it would take me years to find it, or of the memories it would play? Somehow, through this letter, corners ripped, no lipstick print, I think I finally see you. A girl I thought I'd never lose, with endless Thursday barbecues, a friend I'd always pick to choose. So this letter I'm writing you is my own way of saying, I love you. Thank you.
Anouk, the poem is not just beautifully composed, it was so beautifully read. I felt that I was stepping into, that you were guiding me through something. The poem is like a treasure chest. You keep unearthing new things with the most glorious language. It's really very special. It was a journey of opening and reading and discovering. So thank you for that. We're going to take a little journey now. If you're following along in a booklet, we're going to jump to page 16. And we will hear from Nick Marino, a 9th grade poet from St. Albans School, reading Carbon and Chrome.
Oh, yeah. If rust is chrome and flesh and bone is rust and bone and flesh and chrome, and rust and bone and flesh and chrome is chrome and flesh and bone and rust, and flesh and bone and chrome and rust, and chrome is flesh and chrome is bone. If rust is chrome and bone, and flesh is rust, is bone is chrome, and chrome is rust, is flesh and bone. When is flesh and flesh alone? And iridescent rivers rush from exhaust ports, and synthetic dogs drink deep from strong and sterile streams, reflect some creatures' psychedelic dreams. But chrome is flesh, and rust is bone, is rust, is flesh, is rust is bone, and bone is chrome, is rust is flesh. Let chrome be bone, and flesh and bone, and chrome and bone is rust, and flesh is chrome, is bone, is flesh, is rust. When is flesh, and flesh alone? While telescopic towers kiss the sun, stretching from the rolling, rustling fields, sow teeth in the rich soil, and pray for real birds to come and carry off the fruit. So flesh and flesh is bone, and rust is chrome, is rust is chrome, and bone and flesh and chrome and rust is bone, and chrome is flesh and rust, and chrome is flesh and rust is rust, and is bone is bone is bone is bone. But flesh and rust is chrome and bone and rust and flesh and bone, and chrome and bone is rust and flesh. When is flesh flesh, and flesh alone? Like the steel lamb, eat plastic grain with shining razor teeth, drink and dive and drown in inky oil, the deep and chilling luster of the lake, a silken mirror to the evening sun. And chrome is flesh and bone, and chrome is flesh is bone, is flesh is rust, and chrome is flesh, and flesh is bone, and rust, and flesh is chrome, and chrome is bone, is rust, is flesh is rust, and flesh is chrome, and rust is bone, but chrome is bone, and flesh is rust, is flesh is chrome, is flesh is chrome, and chrome is bone, is rust is rust. When is flesh flesh, and flesh alone? Undying androids contemplate the stars, dissect the secret murmurs of the earth. The shining, silent cities forever stand, a question to the sanctity of flesh. And chrome is rust, is bone, is flesh, is chrome, is bone, and flesh is rust. So flesh is chrome, is bone, is rust, is flesh, is chrome, is flesh. And bone is chrome, is rust, is chrome, is chrome, is chrome, is bone. And rust in bone is rust, is chrome. When is flesh flesh, and flesh alone? A single, perfect, pulsing model brain, shining circuits dry of serotonin, neutral in the universe, a meaningless humming. And why? Why do the machines need to be made of meat? Meat. Thank you.
Bravo. Well, Nick, that was extraordinary. I will tell you, I've looked at this poem for a long time now. I read the poems when they're submitted. I typeset the poems for the printer. I proofread the booklet, and I would only want to hear you read this poem, because in the sound is the sense. And in your delivery, I don't know if you all felt it, there's a kind of logic that starts to bubble to the surface. This makes sense, this repetition of consonants and vowels and equating of things. I think it was terrific. And thanks so much. Okay, yeah, bravo. Moving on. Our next poet, Romy Bronin, is a 6th grader from Sidwell Friends School. Romy, come on to the podium.
A time in life. The bee wants to sing, and the tree wants to run, breaking out of the ties tangle them, walk into the time where they are free. The river wants to stop for once and think about the years when it could smooth every rock, a time when it had a run swifter than a galloping horse. The fish wants to stray from the school, but it can't. Where would it go then? The lion dreams about the days it was young, and its roar was louder than fire, a time when he had the claws of a dagger. The turtle wants to trade its shield for a sword, its cover for a brave coat. And the girl wants to live in the world free of judgment, a time where she can just exist.
Thank you so much, Romy. Boy, it's another poem that has this energy in it and this movement. I feel like I'm flying and galloping and, and dreaming. It's always wonderful when a line near the end of a poem flips something and makes you go, oh. And the girl wants to live in a world free of judgment. Did that for me. Thank you so much. Our next poet from Howard University Middle School of Mathematics and Science, can we add and poetry, is an 8th grader, Shania Hester, to read her poem, Nostalgia.
It's Saturday morning, 2015. Dora the Explorer is blasting on the TV. The laundry is going, the dryer just beeped, mommy's in the kitchen mopping with bleach. I just finished riding my bike up the street. I fell a few times. There's dirt stains on my denim dungarees. I wash in the shower, my Elsa doll with me. I get out and dress to smell my favorite mac and cheese. The fullness of my tummy and the faint smell of Febreze is enough to lure me to sleep. Saturday was a lot of fun, but it's okay because a new day has just begun. Thank you.
Shania, that's exactly what that poem was. It was a blast of nostalgia. I was smelling, I was tasting, I was feeling, and I imagine it hits you different depending on what age you are, but it was so evocative and simple and full. Thank you. The next poem, and Nora Giafrida, come on down, and Giafrida, excuse me. Pardon? Better the second time, yeah. Thanks, Nora. And I should know Nora's name because Nora was a winner in last year's festival as well. Nora's poem is My Home is a Memory. She is a 10th grader at Sidwell Friends School. Nora Giafrida.
My home is a memory. Time is warped and blurred. There are no facts here. I cannot discern whether the olive tree leaves glimmer emerald, silver, or slate. I cannot precisely trace the patterns of shadow and light as the sunlight speckles and sparkles on the unhewn stones. Only the truth of what I felt once upon a time is certain. Reality beckons with the faintness of a distant voice, calling urgently across the meadow. Barely heard as the birds chatter and the wind sings its lilting song. Reality beckons. The deep blue garment of the sky is rent by missiles, smudged by smoke, the trees charcoal husks. I respond. I will stay here in my fortress, my thought warren, my hoard of beautiful moments. Only this memory is true.
Thank you, Nora. A thought warren, hyphenated, a compound noun. Really beautiful, a hoard of beautiful moments. This poem spoke to me so much of the current moment. It was a comfort, but the current moment is not always a comfort. And I thank you for this memory of a kind of home. Okay, we're going to carry the home theme forward. Our next poet is Rian Power, a 7th grader from Murray School, as I understand, Murray, when you wrote this poem. Rian? Oh, hi. How are you?
Every time we pack the boxes, I sigh. A fragment of me stays wherever I say goodbye. A version of myself etched in a town's name, lost to the streets that won't remember I came. I walk those paths, my laughter light, played on swings beneath fading twilight, stood on fields with dreams held high, bat in hand, reaching for sky. Yet always there was a whisper near, a fragile goodbye drawing nearer. Each move feels like tearing roots from stone, a desperate search to find a home. Planted again, but never whole, always uprooted before I grow. Friends become ghosts in the blink of an eye, their faces fading as years pass by. Photographs curl, memories fray, moments I clutch that slip away. In my suitcase, all my selves reside, the girl who laughed, the one who cried. Growing up feels like losing skin, each layer shed, thin upon thin. Places lost, people changed, a heart always feeling too estranged. I love fiercely, I love fast, knowing each bond may not last. Each laugh, each hug, each fleeting glance, I hold them close, my fragile chance. Ocean's eyes, lashes long, hiding tears when things go wrong. Another home fades into mist, another life I can't resist. I whisper to walls, remember me, hoping they hear my quiet plea. And in their stillness, soft and true, they murmur back, we always do.
Thank you, Rian. You don't have to have moved to feel the emotion at the core of this poem, but it's interesting to me how your rhyme scheme contains it. You know, you have these really regular end-of-line rhymes that hold what feels to me like hold emotion that could just explode all over the page because it's so potent. Thank you for that. It's really beautiful. Next, it's my pleasure to welcome a Parkmont poet to the podium. Annabelle Dixon is a 6th grader at Parkmont School to read her poem, Days of the Week.
Dread, denial, anxiety, claws, minutes, seconds, hours, homework, Monday. Tuesdays equals Thursdays, Tuesdays equals Thursdays, Tuesdays equals Thursdays, Tuesdays equals Thursdays. Notebooks and questions and tears and laughter, dogs versus cats and scissors and teasing and depression and happiness, an oddly shaped family. Thursdays equals Tuesdays, Thursdays equals Tuesdays, Thursdays equals Tuesdays, Thursdays equals Tuesdays. Freedom, red and blue flashing lights, intellect, dragon-themed books, a singular golden brown leaf among the green, young kittens, small and curious. Saturdays are like a sunset pink ocean with undercurrents of blue. Saturdays are a cat taking a bath in a sandstorm. Saturdays are paintings dancing on the rooftop in moonlight. Sticky fingers holding brightly colored cardboard blocks, calming, empty promises whispered underneath the screams coded in sadness, eyes filled with happiness as they take in this beautiful world.
Thank you, Annabelle. Another surprising and complex poem. Just when I think I know where we're going, you change lanes on me, and you completely shatter the mood and make it something else. Boy, do you make me long for Saturdays. And this was mesmerizing. Again, the boldness of echo and repetition. Thank you so much. We're going to take another trip. We're going to jump ahead to page 27. The poet is Jimmy Mulholland, a 12th grader from Gonzaga College High School. Jimmy will read 622 Days.
"622 days. I visited you today, bearing gifts of flowers and your favorite jelly donuts. I told you stories of love, perseverance, and failure. I spoke words of regret and sorrow for the times we missed out on. Almost 2 years felt like days. Every moment I thought of you, thinking how I could see you again, how I could express my guilt to you and my anger that masked these emotions I felt. But you did not care. You laid there listening to every tale and emotion that I described and felt. I hope you felt the hug I gave to the cold piece of stone marking your death, which now held my tears and your name and birth date. I whispered, I miss you, but no response was given. It wasn't expected.
Poetry is such a great container for the thoughts or the feelings or just the things we've never said. It can flush things out and hold them, and I feel like that's what this does for you. It was beautiful, Jimmy. Thank you for sharing it with us. Okay, we're back on track. Page 7, if you're following along in the book. Sinden Goldberg is a 10th grade student from the Duke Ellington School for the Arts. And Sinden will read, My Brother Leaves Home, Hydrangeas Bloom.
Hi, I'm Sinden, and I would like to dedicate this poem to my brother, Max. Since writing this, Max, I have forgiven you, so sorry. This is My Brother Leaves Home, Hydrangeas Bloom. I am on the train down to Navy Yard, and the whole car begins to shake concrete tremors. I reach out, and there is no one there to hold my hand. There are moments leaving the good city when the half-dead grass and litter feels like some kind of forever, but only from the back seat. The middle of June sneaks up on me and the crickets start up at night. I've never really loved anyone, but it's nice to try. How hopeless it can be to know someone from only the back of their neck. I almost loved you, Maxime, jade green and a bonfire's night. I can't decide if it was as much love or need. I couldn't stand you because I needed you, and you never needed me. I am so proud of you, I say, to your face, to the mirror, ruinous as when you slammed a baseball into my eye and careened over my falling body, singing at the top of my head. Do you remember? When I was a girl and you were missing teeth. I used to think every satellite was a star and blood ran blue like lake water before mysteries became too much effort to read and I found myself without a brother. I am Schrodinger's sister and you are pushing open my box door, and at the end of the day, it's a beck and call thing. Do you need me? That's the only question. Thank you.
Thank you, Sinden. Only now, hearing you read it, do I realize that the hydrangeas that are so vivid to me throughout the poem are just in the title. I love that. And how you've captured a complicated relationship in beautiful ways, in uncomfortable ways, but there's so much love underneath it. This is really wonderful. Thank you. Okay, Brian Mercado is another poet from Gonzaga College High School, a 12th grader, and Brian's poem is At the Wrong Time.
At the wrong time, to Samuel. El Salvador scenic mountains, sky blue as could be, In the big city of San Salvador, I saw you. We had a blast. My cousins could tell you as well. We ate, we laughed, we hugged, and time flew just like that. Moons fly by, seasons begin to change. Suddenly, your body starts to tremble. You fall in front of those who love you the most. Weeks pass by, not a single clue of what is going on around you. Tubes and screens around you, but you weren't able to win the fight. Your son is almost a doctor. Your daughter just had a baby. Your brother just got married. Oh, dear uncle, wish you could have seen it. Or maybe you did from up above. Or maybe you came back as a hummingbird. All this could be true, but the timing just didn't seem right.
Thank you, Brian. That hummingbird, that image of the hummingbird, from the first time I read your poem, it was startling and fresh and sometimes just a word in this very simple, small syllables, beautiful poem, and suddenly this hummingbird. So that's what worked for me. The whole poem worked for me, but that was really awesome. Thank you. Our next poet, Brandy Fisher, is a 7th grader from Charles Hart Middle School. Brandy's not here today, but Anaya Stevenson will read her poem for her. Hey, Anaya. Thank you.
Lay these words in your head by your mind, like pebbles put down by soft hands. No choice of place, but before the human body in your mind, followed by the scent of smoke, the taste of crime, the presence of people playing chess, people playing hide and seek, children playing hide and seek, prisoners and soldiers in confinement, build a wall with words inside. I'll be inside.
Thank you, Anaya. Brandy would have been happy with that. That was a beautiful reading. Again, poetry doesn't use as many words as prose does sometimes. It just uses the ones it needs, and sometimes they really shimmer when there are fewer of them. Thank you. Pebbles. Okay, our next poet is Nela Arce Habal, a 6th grader from Sidwell Friends School. Nela's poem is Different.
The tiger paces its cell, watching the cloud. What would he do if he could fly? The cloud watches the world go by, the sun and the moon pass this cloud, but still the cloud stands alone in the sky. For the cloud ponders a very serious thing as he goes along, slow as a snail. He begins to wonder what would he do if he had feet. So the tiger and the cloud stare at each other all day, for the cloud wants feet and the tiger wants to fly. All of the day and all of the night, not moving, they sit there and ponder, what could I do if I were different?
Brava, Nela. There's a lesson for me in this poem. I'm always looking at somebody else and wishing I could do what they do or had what they have. You capture this so eloquently and simply. Thank you. Our next poem, Trans Man Joy, is by Mark Light, an 8th grader from Georgetown Day School. Mark?
Whenever I hear people talking about being trans, it's always the hardship and the pain, but never the joy, always the suffering and judgment from others, never the love and feeling of acceptance. So I'm writing this poem to talk about all the good things, all the love I feel from people around me, and all the self-love I continue to build with myself. That feeling when you get your first gender-affirming haircut, the first time someone calls you handsome instead of pretty. The moment when a stranger calls you man while passing by, the first time you wear a binder and see your flat chest. This is not to say that it will always be easy to be trans, or that you still won't feel that pain and rejection, but to say that there will be beautiful moments too. Ones that make you feel secure in who you are. So if you are struggling, remember, it won't be bad forever, it will get better, and you are loved.
I love when a poem can tell you that you are loved, and you are good, and you are fine. Thank you, Mark, for bringing the joy. As you say, you don't always hear the joy. You bring so much of the fullness of the experience, but boy, does the joy bubble up. Thank you. Okay, our next poet, I'm going to check in and see if Johnny's Speaks McNeil has arrived. Oh, yay. And Johnny's, as you make your way to the podium, can I check in that I'm saying your name right? Awesome. Because it's the title of the poem. Let me just say that Johnny's Speaks McNeil is a 10th grader from Benjamin Banneker High School.
John Niece, the combination of John and Latrice. Two people who made love, one person having fun with life and making people pregnant. Having to be a father, but it's not being one. Being 2 years old, having a dad in jail. People saying it's just graduation, but they lied, wondering why I think everyone is lying. But it comes from him, them. But then the other person, my mother. She is who I live with. She is who told me never to let anyone see you cry, but that just made me emotionally unavailable. The trauma that I have comes from her, but she doesn't care. Having to watch her 2 kids because she wants to drink and smoke, going through man on man, letting them beat, treat you and hit you like you're an object. Well, that made me mature, but still trauma. Having people depend on me, having to put a face on to be there for a grown lady, but couldn't be there for me. People were wondering why I was young but mature, not because I wanted to, but because I had to. But all this trauma made me know that I want to be treated like how I wanted to be treated, how to handle my emotions, and how to be mature.
This is a survivor poem, Johnny's. It's so resilient, and it's so clear from line to line how you stepped into your perspective and your maturity, and it's inspiring. Thank you. Our next poem is by Isabel Sanchez, a 6th grader from Sidwell Friends School. I love your title so much, Isabel. It's called Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude. The rain starts to patter, thunder, shower, weaving its way under the cracks of the marina. They pull for seemingly ages, hoisting the sails onto the ship's mast. Boom. The captain's cat prods on the stone blocks, crying in the rain. She's escaped the terror of the ship. Soldiers' cries ring through my open ear. She jumps back on the majestic ship, startled. They push off, the new sail billowing in the wind. Boom. Like a needle in a haystack, they find a ship. Boom. Their opponents sink into the depths, cheering, screaming for dear life. They cannot hold on much longer. The cat slinks along the hull of our ship, her padded feet barely making a sound as we celebrate in the mist. Boom. We toss and turn, going farther and farther down with the waves. The cat screeches. We are sinking too.
I love the cat, Isabel. I love the cat prodding and pacing and screeching and kind of reading the temperature on the ship. It's delightful. And, you know, like Schadenfreude, it's complicated. It contains a lot of opposites. Thank you. Okay, our next poet, Jason Nguyen, is an 11th grader from Murray School, and regrettably, Jason wasn't able to be here today, but he sent along an audio recording of his poem. Before we play it, I want to invite you, there are some beautiful stanza-ending lines in Vietnamese that Jason will speak. It's part of the poetry of the recording. The translation of those lines appears at the bottom of the page. If you want that, if you want to hear the English translation of those lines, or maybe you just open yourself up to Jason speaking from the heart. So this is What Is Mine Was Hers. We'll give it a minute for the...
What is mine was hers. It is in every possible way that I exist as I am, because my dreams were hers. I am a citizen, clutching a navy blue passport, and she was an alien, mesmerized by the sea. Tay la vong tat qua can nang. I decided between colleges to attain a degree, and she labored every day from 3 to 3. Don't hoi to, tôi nai say chai phong toi. I am free to embrace who I cherish, and she was shackled, destined to perish. Tôi chỉ mok tôi yo ban trôi lại. Yet there she sleeps, chained by the feet. Sometimes I wonder if she had felt meek. But I piece together that her life, her soul, was never bleak, because she had dreamt for me. So it's not every day I get the chance to say that I am here today. Cảm ơn mẹ, bà nội, và chị.
I feel like there are 3 voices in this poem. There's Jason's voice in the English poetry. There is his mother's voice in the stanza-ending Vietnamese lines. And then I imagine that the last Vietnamese line, I imagine it's Jason's, but maybe it's his mother's. I'm not sure. But I was in the thrall of this poem even before I heard the beautiful intoning of the Vietnamese. I'm glad that, although we don't have Jason, I'm glad that we could hear it together. Okay, our next poet is Jay O'Brien, a 10th grader from Duke Ellington School for the Arts. And Jay, I didn't say the title, so go ahead and do your title.
Strange thing. It's a strange thing. I mean. I wake up somewhere before living, somewhere after dreaming, somewhere in between. I pop the pills to numb my feelings, the drugs I cannot live without. I tell my mother I love her, but I don't know what that means. My anatomy was designed without it, love, although there's plenty of room for lying. I've been told that makes me something else than human, something stranger, just a stranger. I think that's why I relate to the pigeons, strangers in our own homes, kicked for how they were built, living in a constant drought without a kind word. Me and the pigeons living somewhere else than human, living somewhere else than the grays and yellows and reds that we've been told we should love, living somewhere without love, but with far more kindness, living somewhere blue and green and mauve. Thank you.
I feel like there's a lot of self-knowledge behind this poem, Jay. It speaks of strangeness and alienation, but it has such a strong core. It was radiant. Maybe all those colors at the end. Thank you. So we heard Carbon and Chrome, and we will never forget Carbon and Chrome, but we will move on to Stella Rosenthal's poem, I Hate AI. Sorry, I had to say it that way. Stella's an 8th grader from Georgetown Day School.
Also, just so you know, this is I Hate AI with 6 exclamation points. Why must you pine and pray to a false god of metal whose mind and soul are artificial? There is no blood flowing within the tubes of oil. There is no sweat leaking from the cracks in the plastic. There is no pain or loss or love or warmth. There is nothing. So why? Why must you reject the blood within your veins, the sweat leaking from your pores, the pain and loss and love and warmth that only the flesh can bear? There is no machine in the flesh, and there is no flesh in the machine. Art is for the bones and muscles, not the wires and tubes.
We didn't get to hear them adjacent, but Stella, I felt like it was kind of in conversation with Mark's poem, not Mark's poem, with Nick's poem, Carbon and Chrome. I don't know, I'm in the choir that you're preaching to. Thank you for this. That's awesome. Our next poem is by Marlon Holder, and I have listed Ballou Senior High School in the program. Marlon goes to KIPP Legacy College Prep School and wanted to make that amendment, at least in the room. Marlon's a 9th grader. The poem is Futile Struggle.
Futile struggle. Even if we join the fight, as profane darkness cuts through the sunlight, unknown fog will mirror and gloom in jealousy and plight. Frantic moments darken an unfamiliar symphony, played out beneath the cover of democracy, the first glance of absent-minded savage brutality. Pride shows distance from the once loved, forever clumsy with elegant strangeness. Fathers unknown, magicians disappear, careless, speechless, paralyzed fragments of feeling. Silver and gold always worth stealing. Tarnished courtyards reek of loneliness and grief, a hurricane of buried praise and sweetness. Clouds the mind of the enemy who are relentless. Ancient glowing artifacts hideously splintered from earth, blue-green eyes looking under a violet veil, awakened by the numb breathlessness, always cherished a dead-bolted heart. In the cradle of heaven's arms, a monument of good. Directions unfound among the early leisure, sunsets will be epic to the unseen midnights, damp with tears and broken skin, falling from windows like feathers, heartbeat rhythms, plugged-in pain, blood-scented streets, all for their own gain.
Thank you, Marlon. Those are some potent images. I feel like your poem is drenched in imagery, every line. It's a dark vision, but ooh, it's a clear and vivid one. Thank you. Angie Spadafora, a 9th grade student at Sidwell Friends School, will read her poem 8 to 3 to 9 to 5.
I'm a place not many can afford to go, 3 ladders while needing to surpass the bar. Rhymes with pool, but not the swimming kind. No lifeguards on duty, it is certain you will drown. Driving a car before getting your license, and crashing is your only option. Caps flying like birds in a flock that goes in different directions. A-list, B this, C mine, divide. So starved, I ate a teen. Now you adult, bet you wish you were here. Thank you.
Angie, I had to look back. I wondered if you were a senior. I love the code in your poem. Some of them were still breaking over me as I heard you read them, but I like the spirit of it, I like the wink of it, and I also like the just sort of clarity of it. Thank you. Our next poem, Class of, is by Tindra Gemsby. Tindra's in grade 11 and goes to Washington International School. Tindra.
Class of. Lint clings to a slip of paper, soft and delicate and folded and torn. The corner of a graduation speech, familiar to warm, worried hands, forgotten with receipts and wrappers along the clumpy seam of a jeans pocket. Lost words that were once prayers, choked out until they'd smoothed. Grocery items and aspirations bleached out in the wash.
This is just another poem where there's a world contained in a little slip of paper, a little crumpled slip of paper, and the poem just blooms with all that it contains. Thanks, Tindra. Our next poet is Myra Zadie. Myra's a 10th grader from Sidwell Friends School. And I'm going to read her poem for her. It's called Cloudy Aging. She's not able to be here and wishes she were and asked me to read it. I'm not hijacking Myra's poem. Sorry, Myra. Cloudy Aging. I was born on earth, arms and legs in the soil, my roots entangled with hers, my soil sister. I tilted my head up, marveling at the warm pink clouds, fantasizing about my bare feet sinking into their misty puffs and fingers grazing the idyllic sky. Almost. At childhood, my body dangled midway between the clouds I worshipped and the soil I sprung from. Double digits ushered in the advent of blue, expected, good, true blue. I observed everyone from my sanctuary, my cloud. Gray haziness swept through them, trailing destruction. A blood orange sky reflected orange blood vessels on my cheeks. I swore I would never end up there. Up and up and up. Neither left nor right, only up, they told me. A perfect path already etched. Age propelled me higher, but adolescence has an apex. The drop only comes after you reach the believed forever high, in friendship, in love. Before that mess, I finally reached those infantile clouds, kicking my feet in ignorant glee, watching feuds from afar. Over time, my soil sister had drifted further away. Our intertwined roots snapped apart. Split ends in the harsh winds, unable to find ground. Then, an inevitable gust forced a collision. Opposite directions, right towards each other. A meteorologist classifies it as the nature of clouds, but I was only capable of angsty, silly, so-called philosophy. When a tornado stays still, it's heading straight for you, we said in unison. Multiple oaths broken, teary-eyed, coughing up smoke, choking up debris, right into her blue-veined face. A soil sister turning to dirt in my eyes, to mud. I like to think that she slipped off that unsteady, crackling, ashy joke of precipitation. Head tilted down and down and down towards the earth, I saw her, my soil sister's sister, myself. Her head tilted up and only up. In the midst of delight and, little did she know, the cusp of catastrophe. I have to admire the poem even more, having put it in my mouth and read it. Myra knows how to do a line break. They're not just random, they're artistry. And what a view of aging from a 10th grader. Wonder what she'll write when she's 60. Probably be awesome. Okay, our next poem, The Story of Medusa, is by Eva King, a 9th grader at Duke Ellington School of the Arts.
Boys will be boys, they say when they see what she was wearing. A crop top. Then she asked for it. But have you heard the story of Medusa? You would be wrong if you thought I meant the ancient monster with serpents for hair and a stone-cold stare that would turn you static in seconds. No, the story of Medusa, a teenage girl dedicating her conscience to faith, serving her deity of justice, Athena. She was once naive and promising, with long dark curls that reached her lap. But where was that justice when Poseidon decided to violate her? Violate doesn't seem like the correct term. He raped her. Setting out to please her goddess would ultimately be the worst fate for any girl her age. In the early hours of the morning, a man entered the sacred shrine. He disguised his power. The earliest poets would claim they were in love. They claimed they made sweet, soft love in a soft spring meadow. But is love what you call it when the most powerful god, thousands of years old, takes advantage of a vulnerable young girl? He came in with an intention. When she refused, he started assaulting her. Athena looked down from above. Observing his vile actions, she decided it was Medusa's fault, claiming she embarrassed her. In a blind rage, Athena cursed her to be alone forever, to never experience love again. I'm afraid to be harmed. I'm afraid to live in a world where victims have all the responsibility. I'm afraid of living in a world where I am the victim. I'm afraid to be a girl.
Thank you, Eva. What a potent last string of lines there. I don't know if you've ever read or would ever be inclined to read a relatively new translation of Ovid's Metamorphoses. It's by Stephanie McCarter. She's the translator, and she's shooting from your playbook here. She takes a really modern look at these ancient Greek gods and their behaviors through a contemporary lens. And your poem took me right back there. Thank you. Okay, yay, yeah. Natalie Weiss is an 11th grade poet from the Edmund Burke School. And Natalie had to go away suddenly on some family business and is not able to read her beautiful poem, Requiem for My Grandfather. And we have asked one of our Parkmont students and volunteers here today, Miriam Rose, to read it for her. Hey, Miriam, thank you.
Requiem for my grandfather. 11 of us, heads bowed, standing around the wooden box. Pine, no embellishment, modest, but strong, like you. Trapped in my throat, a sob, tears frozen on my cheeks. You didn't know my name, but your eyes lit up. When you spotted me, your mouth splitting into a wide grin. Did you remember the dark-haired girl to whom you read stories a long time ago? You didn't speak much, and yet I felt that you wanted me close. Your eyes soft, your hand gentle on my arm. When still healthy, you were never this, unguarded. We picked up the casket, the cruel Chicago wind sliced my bones as we delivered you to the hearse. Do the dead feel cold? I wondered. Was it you, holding me in a frozen embrace?
Thank you. So many of our poets this afternoon are channeling the ancestors or holding the ancestors with them, honoring them. I'm so moved by these poems of family, contemporary family, or generational family. And I know that Natalie thanks you, Miriam, for reading that. So we heard Jimmy's poem, 622 Days, and we will move on to another poem. Ryan Orgad is a 6th grade student from Sidwell Friends. He is not here, but his classmate and another poetry winner, who we'll hear from later, reading his own poem, is David Sempija, and David is going to read Ryan's poem.
Bison in winter landscape. Shivering cold snowflakes crashing into the terrain, patting the soft, fluffy snow.
I always feel like we should sit in silence for a moment after these shimmering 3-line, image-laden poems. And it's always, for me, the last line that pulls it all together. Something about the padding in the soft, fluffy snow is not so harsh an image as the two lines before. Thank you, David, and we'll hear more from you later. Our next poet is a Parkmont poet, Sophia Krikorian, a senior, a 12th grader from Parkmont School, will read her poem.
Fedai, freedom fighters. We hear of the men who are soldiers, but we seldom hear of the women, children, and the elders. When we do, they are seen as helpless, but like the people on Musada, some were relentless. There were many women Fedai who fought as well, rather than be silenced even more by genocidal hell. They made their decision to rise up and fight. Just like the men, it was their every right. Mothers, daughters, wives, and more. They learned to shoot, defend, and go to war. An inspiration to all Armenians, we know their names for much more meaningful things than fortune and fame. They will not be forgotten because they dare to try. Armenui, Lola, Miriam, Rubina, Sosimairig. You may ask who they are, but never why.
Thank you, Sophia. The refrains of names in poetry can be so powerful. Hearing those women's names is beautiful. I think this is another poem with such depth and pain at the core of it, but the rhyme and the meter of it contains it in a wonderful way. It was so great to hear it read. Thanks, Sophia. Okay, moving on. Amos Tama, an 8th grader from Sheridan School, is our next poet. Who is right?
Bombs falling, guns blazing, children killing, bodies burning, everyone taking. A nation torn apart, war and famine. Gaza was angry. Israelis deserved murder for once after killing her children so often. Israel was angry. Terrorists had killed so many of her children in the attack, she wanted revenge. I wonder, who is right? Rocket strikes near Tel Aviv, Netanyahu promises war, missiles fly over the Dead Sea, every day headlines scream at me. My synagogue shouted Israel was community, doing right for Jewish unity, eliminating threats with impunity. My heart cried out, dead civilians 40,000, damaged destroyed homes 163,000, starving people 2 million. I wonder, who is right? Thousands die in Israeli attacks, humanitarian aid is listed black, over Jerusalem missiles crack, who is right? Hospitals destroyed without defense, seeing another day becomes intense, lives bought and sold without expense, senseless violence in cities of tents, no common sense, who to represent, when to take offense, choose because the futures of millions are on the fence. Who is right when nobody should be forced off land because their faith is treason? Leave homes for those who've been gone 8,000 seasons. Be surrounded by enemies because they are called heathens. Watch food disappear because the liberators have better reasons. Cease fire. The headline says quietly, under its breath, almost a whisper. As people pick up broken pieces of their homes, lives, families, morals, I realize it doesn't matter who goes to hell when war makes life hell. No cause is righteous enough to justify horror. No victory sweet enough to overwhelm bitter tears. I realize there is no right in war.
Thank you, Amos, for saying all of those things, for capturing the chaos, for capturing the numbness, the incredulity, and for capturing the not knowing. What a wonderful poem. Our next poem, Safe, will be read by a classmate of Nora's sons. Nora's not able to be here today. She is an 8th grader from Georgetown Day School, and I'm not sure who's going to read, but if you tell me your name, I will introduce you. Oh, yay! I'm flipping back in my book. I'm sorry?
Stella Rosenthal.
Hi, Stella. Yes. Stella Rosenthal will read for Nora's son.
Before I start, Nora just specifically wanted to clarify this poem is about her favorite TV show. So this is Safe. Polished cream walls, expansive fields, endless sun, neat, clean halls. This is the world I've always known. Our scheduled sleep, our scheduled day, this house we call our own. Any sense of unease does not exist. We spend our days to do as we please. The numbers on our skin that tell us who we are, but also tell us we'll never win. The bell tolling, we all know what that means. One of us is leaving, time to set the ball rolling. Our planned escapes, a fanned flame, fabric wings to fly over a maw that gapes. The trackers in our ears removed with a single slice and left behind. The burning house we had for years. We watched it burn and we turn away to fly to the freedom we know we've earned.
Thank you, Stella, for reading it and for reading it so well. What's the show? Oh, okay, I thought it might be called Safe. Thanks for cluing me in. I'd love to hear more about it at some point. The images alone will sustain me until I can watch it. Thanks again. Our next poet is Maya Rubin, an 8th grader from Sidwell Friends School, also a past winner of Parkmont Poetry Festivals, to read He Swears He Saw an Angel. Welcome back, Maya.
He swears he saw an angel. A man asks us for a charger on the train, and we're not sure about his mental health because of the way he talks, kind of raspy like a snake, and he's missing a few teeth. But we just look in our bags for a charger, and when we don't find one, we apologize, and he starts to tell us. He swears he saw an angel when he flatlined in March. Said he rose up from his hospital bed just like Jesus on the cross, and his daughter, who he called Baby Blue because he liked that color on her, was there to greet him. Baby Blue was 32 years old, and she had been sober for 16 years. And for prom, when she was younger, she needed 3 dresses, and altogether, that cost $3,800. We learn his name is Michael, and that his ex-wife is an amazing person, but it just didn't work out between them. My mom has a way of talking where she lets people talk for hours. Oops, I meant to say listening. When Mom went to the bathroom, Michael said he must be talking my mom's ear off. I said it's okay, because we're writers and we like to hear stories. When Mom came back, Michael told us that when he gets to New York, he will go straight to the hospital, and then to Hobby Lobby, because he might need to get his legs amputated, and to get a picture frame for Baby Blue's prom photos. He showed us his legs. They were bleeding and swollen, and he told us that his heart is only operating at 9%. So he said he will buy only one more drink from the food and drink area on the train. And he drank, and Mom and I watched that drink fill up his heart. Thank you.
You really capture a life from An Encounter on a Train. And though it seems like the poem is about Michael, it's really about Maya and her mom. And I think that's cool. Okay. We will skip over I Tragedy. That kicked us off today, Connor's poem, and hear from Annika Pinol Manchon. And I didn't get to check with you, so you get to correct my pronunciation. It was okay? Oh, awesome. Annika's poem is the old, here you can help me, Gulmohar? Gulmohar tree.
Thank you. The old Gulmohar tree. There is a place that I hold dear, a place to laugh, to shed a tear. Her fragrant red flowers, her marvelous branches, give refuge to many to sing and dance in. The comfort of my favorite place, the bad days and sadness she does erase. Birds tweet, squirrels dance, and it is a great treat to be under her branches. As summer fades to fall, then winter, her leaves fall off, but her spirit does not splinter. And comes spring again, in all her bright regalia, she astounds all around, for all of Animalia. I hope one day that all will see the great majesty of the old Gulmohar tree, the great majesty of my Gulmohar tree. Thank you.
So great. I think regalia and animalia is one of my favorite rhyme pairings that I've heard lately. It's wonderful. Is it a kind of tree? Okay, I'm going to go and look it up. I want to know what it looks like. Oh, thank you for capturing it in your poem, Annika. That was wonderful. And now we're going to hear about another tree. We're going to welcome David Sempija back to read his own poem this time, called The Tree. Oh, David, I should say that you are a 6th grader from Sidwell Friends School.
Yeah.
Yep.
The tree. In the woods where the leaves are the sky, an ancient tree ceases to breathe, a strangler fig wrapped around. The tree is starved, suffocated by its oppressor. It was kill or be killed. But when the battle is finished, when the tree has rotten away, the strangler is left hollow, an empty shell of his predecessor, its bones all to see.
Thank you, David. Kind of an epic story in a handful of lines, in a simple but potent poem. I love where the leaves are the sky. That was such an evocative line to me. Thank you for this. Okay, our next poem is called If I Can't. It's by Valentino Johnson, a 6th grader at Charles Hart Middle School.
If I can.
Poem really stands for itself. If I can't have a gold star, I will settle for snacks and a juice from Tiger Market. If I have to eat healthier snacks, I would have M&M flavored seaweed. If I can't have no soda, I am okay with apple juice. If I can't sleep, I will just imagine I am dreaming.
Awesome. Thank you. It's always good to have a plan B. It sounds like Valentino goes through life with several plan B, C, D, E. That's awesome. I'm always okay with apple juice, too. Okay, we welcome back to the Parkmont Poetry Festival Igirim. Do I say it right? Igirim. I said it last year, but it's been a year, Igirim. Igirim Bibol, a 12th grader from Sidwell Friends School. I'll let you introduce it, Igirim.
I, Ophelia, or The Art of Drowning, after Ophelia by John Everett Millay. Did you think I'd go quietly? I don't sink into the canvas, surrender to the muted colors. I am not your muse. Do you see me? Violet strung round my neck, garland turned noose. Rue twisted round my thumb, the only ring I'll ever wear. The willow keens for me, boughs boding grief. Will you mourn the girl I was, or the wife I might have been? Paint me as a lovesick fool, mad woman lost to the murky depths. Hair a sodden veil, gown a floral shroud, beautiful, even in death. He loves me not. Never doubt, he said, before he crushed me between his fingers. Petal by petal, the crimson poppy drifts on the stream. I wilt with each labored breath. Forget me not. Pray you, love, remember how my voice shakes the reeds. The current doesn't silence me, even as cold swallows my bones and stains my lips blue. No, I sing until water floods my lungs, until darkness seizes my heart, chokes the last note from my throat. Thank you.
Wow. Igirim, I am all about the reclaiming of Ophelia. You know, in the theater, the Ophelias are getting stronger and stronger. They're not these wilting flowers. And I love how feisty this Ophelia is, or this voice that's invoking of Ophelia. Thank you so much for that. Okay, Christopher Smith, an 11th grader from DC International School. Come on up, Christopher. Hi.
Thank you. I am the heretic's favorite lamb, covered in blood and cradled in his arms. He plunges his teeth into my still beating heart, as he has done so many times before. As the blood spills into the altar, I find comfort in his sharp teeth, solace in his arms that are holding me so dearly. Struggle I did not, for I knew better than tempt fate by fighting back. This is how it's always been, prey and predator dancing an internal struggle. Higher power feeds on the weak and helpless. Who am I to change God's will? The best I can do is let him take what he wants, lest I become another body in an infinite ocean of victims. He rips and tears into my skin, supple flesh giving way to his savage teeth. Scream I did not, for I knew if I did, he would be disappointed in me. Oh, how my damaged skin aches and cries for mercy, but yet craves his touch forevermore. He does not mean to hurt me. A wolf can never truly love a lamb as much as he fights the instinct to hurt and kill. As much as he weeps and begs for forgiveness after his carnage, he is no better than a wolf who kills without mercy. Guilt does not change what he has done, nor does it show change. For when he is hungry, he will hunt again. He will rip my limbs apart until there is nothing left. Then he will stitch me back together with words of promise and that he will change.
Thanks, Christopher. Some poets think you gotta hook your audience with the first line. Here, and your first line really hooked me. I am the heretic's favorite lamb. And indeed, the first words of each of your stanzas are compelling. Thank you for Sacrificial Lamb. Okay, we have another Gonzaga College High School poet, Justin Wallace, a 12th grader, to read The Sounds of Northeast DC. Hey.
The sounds of Northeast DC. The sounds of screaming moms fill the air. On Saturday mornings, their voices rise over the whistles, pushing their sons down their field, telling them to keep going, keep fighting, like they have done their whole lives. The bus brakes hiss at the corner. Rare essence spills from an open car window. Kids yell across the blacktop, their laughter mixed with the rumble of dirt bikes flying through the streets. Then night comes, and the sounds shift. Gunshots crack through the air, followed by silence, heavy, waiting. Then the screams return. Not from the sidelines, not from the joy of the game, but from a mother in the street, holding on to a body that won't move, begging for a name that won't answer. The city keeps moving. The metro doors close. The beat still plays, but the cries don't fade. They linger, hanging in the air, another echo in the night. Thank you.
That was powerful, Justin, and you hold the room. Your presence and your voice holds the room for these hard words. And did you notice we had some sirens going for you outside? Did you hear the sirens? Just as you started your poem. Northwest DC too, I guess. Okay, thank you. The next poem, Because I Matter, is by Aliana Cromer, an 8th grader from Georgetown Day School. Aliana.
Before I speak, I would like to play one of the several 911 calls made on the night Trayvon Martin was murdered.
Do you need police, fire, medical?
Maybe both. I'm not sure. There's just someone screaming outside.
Okay. And is it a male or female?
It sounds like a male.
And you don't know why?
I don't know why. I think they're yelling help, but I don't know. Just send someone quick. Please.
Okay. Does he look hurt?
I can't see him. I don't want to go out there. I don't know what's going on. So they're sending.
So you think he's yelling help?
Yes.
All right. What is your
Just there's gunshots.
You just heard gunshots?
Yes.
Trayvon Martin died that day, February 26th, 2012, in Sanford, Florida. 17 years old in black hoodie overhead, Skittles and Arizona iced tea in hand, unarmed, walking home from 7-Eleven to his family. George Zimmerman, 28 and armed, patrolling his gated townhouse when we saw a real suspicious guy, someone up to no good. Ignoring the dispatcher telling him to stand down, his presumed prejudice persisted, justifying him to engage. George approached Trayvon, following him, telling jurors he acted in self-defense because Trayvon assaulted him. George Zimmerman walked free. So, are we just real suspicious, feared, no, threatened by others? For what? By what? Skin. The melanin that lays rooted in our skin changes everything. The kinks in our hair and the complexities that make us our own alter the perspectives of others and turn us into people who must be feared. Alicia, Patrice, and Opal, you saw, so you acted, and there was a result. You are change makers, building a base of a movement that can only get taller, a movement that steals back the power they gained from the lives they stole. From us, putting the power back into the people, our people. Everyone says hashtag BLM like it means nothing, like we mean nothing. So, we matter? For hundreds of years, we were property, not people, 3/5 of a person belittled to less than human. So, we matter? Too many silent voices turn away from justice, fearing the consequences of action. Ashada Shakur once said, "It's our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win.
We must love each other and support each other. We have nothing left to lose but our chains. Generations of our hands are held down, tightly fastened, ensuring we can never break free from the chains. The chains of prejudice. We manage to break off the base, but the chains just go etched into our wrists and proceed in others' minds, illuminating to the world we will never be enough to matter. So, we matter? Lenses clear the foggy minds filled with those biased perceptions of black, shifting their perspective of the world to a world where they can see we are equals. Though only a few strive to acquire this viewpoint, only a few strive for change. They like it more when the story portrays them as the only relevant group, covering our voices, leaving us to rot in the background, too powerless to ever step forward into our own spotlight. So, we matter because Trayvon Martin matters, because all lives lost still matter, because we find light when others work harder to put out our brightness, because life is everything, because Black lives are lives like any other, because this is us, and we are never going to change. So, we matter? Yes, we matter. Thank you.
Aliana, you've got a lot going on there. You have access to beautiful language, but you've got access to this deep, deep, deep wellspring of emotion. That was some spoken word artistry. Thank you for sharing it with us. Okay, we have just a few poems left. Our next poet is Jack Rothenberg, a 6th grader from Sidwell Friends School. Jack's poem is Diamond Painting. Hey, Jack.
Diamond Painting, after Pete Mondrian. Forget the so-called proper blue or gray diamond. Forget how diamonds cut and uncut are supposed to look. Forget how the facets are supposed to look. Remember the red that looks like blood and the triangular black pits. Remember the numbing white squares and the steady gray rectangles. For whatever it looks like, it will always be a diamond, and will always, no matter what people say, always be beautiful.
Thank you, Jack. I love the counterpoint of your forget stanza and your remember stanza, and I love your finish. Always, no matter what people say, always be beautiful. Thank you. Okay, next is Lizzie Patterson Cox, another 6th grader, this time from Capitol Hill Day School. Hey, Lizzie.
I am from the necklace that nearly choked me, the shoes that my sister steals, random t-shirts, and plain leggings. I am from the CD player that goes up way too loud, the stuff that's been on my floor for months, and my creaky loft bed. I am from the tree that looks like it's about to fall over, the crashed gravel in the alley, and the bells that go off every morning at 8. I am from the shifting weather, the huge buildings, and the parking spaces we can never find. I am from lamb, my dad's homemade mint sauce, and microwave green beans. I am from hurry up ya, are you done yet, and I'm gonna kill you. I am from waffles in the morning, watching basketball in the evening, and ducking under punches. I am from the room I shared with my brother for years, and the stuffed animal I got when I was 4. I am from screaming kids, my mom's music, and tackling my brother. This is where I'm from.
That sounds like a really great family to me, actually. I didn't, in case you're not reading in the booklet, I didn't read Lizzie's title, which is really pithy. I am from tackling, screaming, and waffles. So we'll put that after the fact out there. Gosh, I just love how immediate and authentic and individual it is, Lizzie, and there's a music to it and a humor to it, and thank you. We've come to our final poem in the festival. Ellie Koukios is our poet who will take us out. She is a 7th grader from Georgetown Day School. Her poem is Writing Letters in the 21st Century.
This dedication is not in the program. However, I'd like to thank Interlochen Center for the Arts Sleepaway Camp, because if it weren't for that magical establishment, I would not have so many opportunities to write letters. Writing letters in the 21st century. I thank you for telling me that you too have been feeling star-shy, that you bought new shoelaces after the aglets on your last ones broke. And as a very hungry caterpillar, made of crayon and produce sticker, crawls across a gingham border, this beautiful notification will soonly be reciprocated, letting you know which color of satin bow will sit in my hair as I walk the steps to my next calling. Open the envelope, and you'll find yourself smiling fondly, recalling the hair which you know is striped with turmeric and hazel because you watched it fade in the sunlight during those beautiful months of June and July. Like June and like July, there is warmth in the pen. There is warmth in this pigeon turned freighter. And there is warmth in this paper, decorated with wooden beads, sugary magenta, glitter, and the wings of butterflies who inhabit the garden of heavenly. As we read and as we write, we forget the feeling of desolation, discovering that warmth and whimsy cannot be replaced, even by convenience. We discover that this page, the one that screams of pink, is so lively it will never be forgotten.
Thank you, Ellie. I feel like maybe your poem is in a kind of conversation with Anouk's poem, possibly. There was just some lovely letter writing reflection going on there. Your playful, rich, specific use of language just buoys up your poem, and thank you so much for it. I want to invite, I thought today was especially striking in the ease our poets had at the podium, not a simple thing to do with images of yourself on those big screens back there and a microphone that's being adjusted around you. And I want to applaud their poise and their grace reading their work. Okay, there's some punch and some cookies and bundt cakes and things down in Fellowship Hall. But before I release us all to a reception, and I hope you'll join us in saluting these poets, Michael Gushu invited us to think about a relationship with poetry. I think they're going on right and left where you might have never guessed it. Secret relationships that your students are having with their art, with their language. That relationship happens. Then there's this relationship of teacher to student that says, hey, there's this festival, maybe you submit. We have relationships with some of those teachers. They help us get you here. We entrust those poems to our judges who we have relationships with. Please let us not let these relationships languish. Please let us keep them vibrant. I am inviting you to invest in relationships with art. we have a $10,000 match being offered for donations to the Parkmont Poetry Festival. We want these relationships to continue and to sustain. We will have a festival, we will have an occasion, and we will have a house. Please help us keep this going. There are QR codes in your booklet. There are also QR codes for a survey. Let us know what you thought, but do join me, join a lot of us in committing to a relationship with poetry. Doesn't that sound beautiful? And thank you for being in the room today and shining light back on our poets. The reception is out this door. There's an elevator if you like, or there are some stairs that'll take you downstairs. Hang around, say hi. See you down there.